Hi, I'm Ellen Jaffe Jones, your veg coach. Today we're going to talk about different kinds of grains. We have this beautiful artist palette of different grains. We'll start off with a grain that you've probably seen and eaten many times. This would be just traditional oats, and you can boil them just for about 10 minutes or even just pour boiling water over them and let it sit for a while, and they'll kind of puff up a little bit and be palatable. But the actual oats come from the whole grain, which is right here, although this is actually called steel-cut oats. And if you look very carefully, you can see that the grain is cut in half, and they are steel-cut. That's why they're called steel-cut oats, and considered to be more nutritious because it really is the whole grain intact, except for having been cut in half. So it takes longer to digest, longer to get into your blood system, and therefore it is thought to control blood sugar levels better if you eat, in any case, the whole grain versus any processed part of the grain. But if you don't have blood sugar issues, it's perfectly fine to eat the regular flattened traditional oats that you see here. Next, we see forbidden rice. It is a beautiful dark grain, and when you cook it up, it almost looks like a black bean. It's so dark and beautiful, and it's just very flavorful. Then we have traditional brown rice over here, and this is wahani rice right next to it. Now we see some of these little teeny tiny grains in here. These three are all different forms of quinoa. The traditional quinoa, white quinoa, is right here, and next to it is red quinoa and the dark or black quinoa. Now, all of these have subtle different tastes and flavors. You just have to taste them yourself and figure out which one you like. It is considered to be one of the highest forms of protein that you can obtain from a grain. So many athletes actually like to eat it, and there are even some athletic performance protein drinks that have quinoa protein extracted from it. Another tiny grain right next to it is teff. It originated from the Ethiopian culture, and often bread is made from it, but you can cook it up as a cereal. In fact, any of these grains can be cooked up as a cereal, and what that means is it's about a 2-to-1 ratio of water to grain. And so if you stick to those limits, then you can have yourself a cereal made from any of these other grains. Moving right along here, we have whole wheat couscous. This is made from whole wheat, kind of chipped away with the outer fiber missing, but with the whole grain, it has a little bit of the whole grain fiber still left on it. And here we have kamut, and this again is another acquired taste. If you're not used to this, it's a very rich grain, very chewy. And then here we have buckwheat groats. Now, when they're toasted, they're often used in kasha, which is another fairly ancient cereal grain out there known in Jewish cultures. And then here we have millet. We're moving into some of the more yellow grains here. And millet, I love. It is so golden yellow when you cook it up. It's almost like there's butter on it, but the good news is there isn't. The final grain here in the yellow family is made from corn. You may recognize it, especially if you're from the South, where it is really prolific. Grits, or in the northern climes, often referred to as polenta, same thing. And they even sell this processed at the store, but you can make your own quite easily and certainly much more cheaply. So if you liked these tips about whole grains, we have a whole bunch of other tips on my YouTube channel, which you have to subscribe right here to get more of that. More tips on eating, recipes from my books, Eat Vegan on $4 a Day, and my brand new book that just came out, Kitchen Divided, Vegan Dishes for Semi-Vegan Households.